you...
Oop.
Bugger. Starts well, doesn't it? Just my wallet. Lovely. Do you take sugar?
I don't.
You,
I don't take sugar.
Just leave it there. Wonderful. Now how is it? Because it's from a machine.
Yes, it's not great. That's the first thing I'll say. This coffee with isn't very good. No, it's okay, but it's from that machine over there. Yeah.
You can tell that it's from the machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I drink so much coffee.
Doing your stand-up stuff. I mean, is this a habit for you? Are you...
Habit?
Well, I mean, see, in my head...
I can't break this habit of comedy. I've been trying on my... just addicted to it.
Well, you see, the thing is, in my head, you are theatre, one-man show.
Yeah, that's true, actually. And yeah, I suppose that is true. I'm probably seen more as a sort of... I don't know. They find it hard to pigeonhole me. I think Time Out used to call it stand-up theatre, which I suppose is what it is. It isn't what I'm doing tonight at the Glee Club, I have to say. I'm doing 20 minutes of punchy stand-up, but which I can do. But I think I prefer to diversify a little bit and do lots of things. And in a way that kind of, it's like a finger in every pie,
Yeah.
And that, can be difficult. I've had agents over the years saying, yeah, but you have to get your profile up in this area, and you can't do so much of this, and you can't do that. And in the end, I end up sacking them, and well, this is what I want to do. So,
yeah. But I mean, is the stand-up kind of, is it what you really want to be doing? I don't know.
That's a good question. Probably not, actually. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy doing stand-up, but I mean, I've been doing it for quite a number of years now, and I probably would prefer at the moment to be, say, directing a film or something, which is what I'm trying to do at the moment. I'm writing a screenplay for the Northern Irish Screen. They commissioned me to do a feature film based on my stage play.
Right, so you've written it as well.
I'm writing it at the moment. They give me a few quid to do it. They said, okay, we like the idea, and here's the money. We do the script and come back to us, and if we like it again, then we can. So I'm over that hurdle, which is a big hurdle, So I mean, to get commissioned is the first hurdle to jump. So I'm doing that, and I get to direct it as well.
Yeah, which is great. And are you in it, or?
No, I wouldn't be in it. No, I wouldn't be in it. I think to direct and to be in something is just a bit too much. So because you have to have that eye, on things. I mean, I directed 2 shorts, which I really enjoyed.
But it's not been for a little while.
It's not been for a little while. The last short I did was in 2006, I think.
Was that for BBC Two? Or?
No, God, no. That was, I think, maybe you're getting mixed up with a play that I wrote about in 1993.
Oh, right, wow.
You were about 6 years old or something at the time.
It's my shoddy research, isn't it?
No, it doesn't matter. It's that was directed by Danny Boyle.
Yes.
I wonder what happened to him.
It's gone all quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, it was when he was directing, when he was a young director, and he was, working for the BBC at the time. Well, not for the BBC, but he was, directing plays, and that was in 1993, I think, and that was on BBC Two. The short film was I think 2006 or 2007, and we won a few awards with that as well.
Right. Yes. And it's. Were you frustrated that didn't then directly lead on to anything else?
No, I mean, I'm not that. I didn't believe that was. That's a very naive thing, because even you get directors, big directors, and they say after they direct a movie, it's like really hard to get something else on. And I mean, if you talk to people like You know, Terry Gilliam, for instance. You know, like the hoops that you have to jump through to get the money, to get this, to get that, and you think, well, if you have to do it, if you have to do that, you know, what the hell chance have I got? So no, I didn't. I just, but I just keep plugging away and plugging away.
But that short you did, was that kind of totally a labour of love, or had you compromised a bit to get it commissioned?
No, not at all. I didn't compromise at all with it. We took the idea to the film board in Ireland, and they liked the idea, and it was very straightforward. They gave me €80,000 to make it, which is quite a good budget for a short. And we went out and we put all the money on the screen. You know, we had crane shots and we had rain machines, and it's fantastic.
That's what you've got to do, though, isn't it?
Absolutely, you put all the money up there.
Show the money on the stage,
Absolutely,
as they say. Yeah.
And the crew were looking for a mobile phone. You know, everybody has a mobile phone, and nobody's getting a mobile phone. You know, you use your own mobile phone, you use your own money. You want to phone me, you phone me on your mobile phone. I'm not paying for it.
Off camera, it's a slum.
Yeah. But
yes,
that's what you got to do. But no, I mean, I enjoy stand-up. Obviously, I've been doing it a long time. But when I get an idea, for instance, there was an idea the other day that I don't know if you heard the story. It was about in the Second World War, there was a tank, and they called it the Fray Bentos tank, and it was stuck in the mud on the German lines, and the Germans surrounded it, and there was these 8 guys in this tank, and they fought the Germans off for like 2 hours, and they succeeded. You know, they were victorious. And when I heard the story, I thought, that's a movie, that's a film right there. You know, but maybe other creative people, I might think that's a play for the stage. It's a poem. You know, it's a routine for comedy. But the way I think it's a film. So when I get ideas, I put them into sections. I go, well, that's a poem, so I'll write that, or that's a play, or I'll write that, or that's a movie I do. Do you know what I mean? Or that's a comedy routine. And that's the way I like to work.
And is it generally something that will happen to you?
Yeah.
Or something you'll see?
Something I'll see, something will happen. And I then, my brain has to go, well, you know, how can I use this? And that's the way I've always been. Now, if you're an out-and-out comedian, then you're going to make it into a comedy routine, you know, no matter what. But I don't do that.
But it's probably better if you've got a film out of an idea as opposed to
exactly.
a good 10 minutes.
Exactly, but there's comedians who would prefer that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just the difference.
Yeah, and that 10 minutes could take you all over the country. And
exactly.
That's your living.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Whereas, you know, you've put together, you know, an idea for a film, and then it gets accepted or not accepted, back to square one.
There's a lot of work goes into development, you know, development hell, and it's getting harder and harder and harder. I mean, even when I did my play for for BBC Two in 1983, whatever it was, I went along. I spoke to 2 people. I spoke to George Faber, he was the producer, and I spoke to the editor, Anna Price, who was my editor, and that was it. You know, that was it. Now you've got to go and see like 5 people, and then you go and see somebody else, and it goes on and on and on. And meetings and development and reshaping it, and then the next thing, halfway through, the producer will leave, and you got a new producer, and you go, no, I think what I want to do is, and you just like, it's crazy.
You hear it that someone will commission something, that person will leave, and the new person wants to put their own stamp on it.
And then you've worked on it, and you've got like, you know, 20 pages of this, and then they want to change the whole thing, or, you know, usually they don't want to do it at all. You know, they pull the plug on it, and that's, you know, happened to me quite a few times. That's very frustrating. And
it's specifically frustrating with the BBC, who you kind of think should be fostering, you know, good stuff.
Well, I think they do to a certain extent. It's just that it just depends. I mean, it's all about ratings, you know. It really is all about ratings, and I can understand that. I mean, if you go along and you've got a fantastic script, and they know it's a fantastic script, the first, you know, forget about the script, no matter how fantastic it is. What they're thinking is, you know, so who's going to play the lead? We have to attach this person to this, and we have to attach that, and you know, that's their criteria. You know, that's the way they think, and unfortunately, that's what you need. You know, because you see, occasionally you'll see a film and it's got like, you know, Al Pacino and De Niro and people in it, and you think this is going to be fantastic, and it's a piece of crap. And you think, well, you know, how did that happen? So it's really odd.
It's an
It
ongoing...
happens because you've got De Niro and you've got Pacino, and they've gone, let's make it because we're businessmen and we just want to sell it. We don't really care what the content is. If he's in it, let's make it. And that's happening in Hollywood all the time.
And you've got to play that game, you know, if you've
to a certain extent, but there's only so much of that game that you can play without going, come on, you know, I don't want a Lenny Henry in this.
I think that's a thing, yeah, which I struggle with the whole libertarian point of view, that, you know, everything, that it's a competition and that competition is good, which it is to an extent, but not everything has to have the goal of money.
No,
and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't really. It shouldn't. And the BBC, they used to be about that, but they're not about that anymore. And they can't be about that anymore because there is so much in competition, and they're going to go under if they don't. I mean, HBO are probably, you know, they are doing what the BBC, you know, should be doing now.
Yeah.
But you see, they're being paid from a different place. They're being paid by the people to make the thing, but then the BBC are as well. They've got this TV license, so they should use it to make the. I mean, if HBO can do it, then the BBC. I mean, you look at the things that, you know, HBO are producing, some fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
you know, The Sopranos and, you know, Boardwalk Empire and all those great comedies.
Just walks all over it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It really is.
And you wonder, you know, with all these shake-ups at the BBC, whether eventually, you know, you can get back to it, or I think it needs maybe a big successful hit that you know, is unknown and doesn't have, as you say, Lenny Henry in it. And
I don't mind Lenny Henry. I'm not saying anything about Lenny Henry. I'm sure he's very good. Actually, he's quite a good quite a good stage actor now. Apparently,
well, he was at the National
and all that. Yeah, so
No, and I think he has become kind of a scapegoat of...
He has, yeah, that's true. And it's I don't want to do that. I don't want to be one of these comedians who are slagging off, you know, people who are successful, like Michael McIntyre, people like that.
Which you do get a lot on the circuit, yeah.
You do. People on the circuit hate Michael McIntyre, but the thing is, I think he's very good. I think he's very clever. I think he's very good. It isn't really my type of comedy, but you have to admire the man. You know, he sees comedy in everything. If you see his routines, I mean, you just think, okay, it's you know, observational, but it's very good. And to appeal to that many people, you know, I mean, that's, you know, it has to be admired, I think.
I mean, filling arenas, arenas aren't forced on people.
They're not forced on people at all, and you know, he can go to the O2, look at the size of that place. I mean, it's incredible.
Have you seen comedy in like a big...
I saw Eddie Izzard a couple of times. I know Eddie from the old days, you know, and so I've seen him, but I don't particularly enjoy it, I have to say. I prefer... Over 500 people, it gets a bit weird.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't have to worry about that. It's not a problem I have at the moment. Well, another 600 people tonight.
If you got to that stage, yeah. But I mean, there are always ways around it, aren't there? You know, people. I mean, very popular people do theatres as well.
Of course,
yeah. Which is.
Yeah, I went to see Alexi Seal the other night. He was. I think there was 200 people in the audience.
Was it Soho?
Soho Theatre, yeah.
Yeah, it is admirable.
It was great
that people will, and the intimate venue, it does. It's something special about it.
It lends itself to comedy much more, for me, anyway. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So when you do like your shows in Edinburgh, is it what kind of room are you?
Well, you know, usually, I mean, last year I did the assembly rooms.
The new assembly rooms.
The new assembly rooms, and not to be confused with the assembly rooms. I did a show called Struck by Lightning, about being struck by lightning when I was 12, and I did a whole show about it. But so I try to get a sort of a theatrical, like the room has to be, it's quite important that, you know, and this particular room last year wasn't like 100%. it could have been better, the room, like the space I was in, but it was okay.
I think they were finding their feet somewhat.
They were. It was a bit. The place looked a bit clinical. It looked a bit like a swimming pool.
Oh, did it?
When you walked in, and but I think, Tommy Shepherd, who's really shrewd guy, he'll. When you're dealing with bureaucrats, which he is, with the town hall people, you can't touch this and don't put a poster up there. Don't do this. But after a while, I think they'll calm down and it'll become a little bit more grubbier, which is what it needs to do.
And once they become part of the furniture,
yes,
that's easier to happen. Yeah. Once they've been there 15 years.
Absolutely. So at the moment, it's all a little bit, don't, frighten horses.
And it is just great to bring, that side of town into sort of the stands extended.
Absolutely.
It's just lovely.
Absolutely, it's great, and I think it will be a success. I really do, but it will take a few years, 2 or 3 years. Just
to build up that way, and then they'll sort of cross over to the bridge, and the cow will kind of get further and further away. Yeah. We can hope, I suppose. Yeah. No, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Edinburgh.
It is, because every year I say, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and can it get any bigger? And I don't know if they're going to have to put a cap on it at some point. I mean, because at the moment, it's like something like 3,400 shows per day, which is nuts. That's bonkers. And unless you have a TV profile, it's getting harder and harder and harder to get anybody to come see your show, because that like the tickets are 20 quid, something like that. And so it's just bizarre the way it's growing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult that people are seeing, I don't know, when people go to Edinburgh and they do it properly, they'll see 5 shows a day maybe.
Yeah.
If you're paying 16 quid a ticket.
I know. How can you afford that?
That's just not.
It's just really. So you have to be, like the choice that they have is so immense now in Edinburgh, so they have to kind of pick, and unless you're there with a big beacon on your head going, come over here, and that's not really me, I don't really push it that much. I don't have like a PR machine, and I don't do all of that, so it's kind of hard.
You're not going to slap your face on all the posters.
No, not at all. I'm not going to. It's completely pointless. Completely pointless. I mean, I remember being at the Pleasance in the courtyard, and there was people going around with a leaflet, going, do you want to come see my show? Because the leaflets, there's a table full of leaflets, and just behind them there was a guy in a boiler suit with a black plastic bag, and he was just scooping on the bag.
It's quite poetic, almost.
Just, for me, that was just Edinburgh, just right there. Just like the craziness of it. So, but you have. The only thing with Edinburgh for me is that it's a deadline, because you say you're going to do it end of February. That's when you nail, the thing, and you have your title for your show, and then you're committed. You pay your sub to the Fringe thing, and
you're in
by March. That's it.
It's happened.
Yeah. And then you have to go, and I think everybody needs a deadline, but Edinburgh really is
that's the ultimate.
I've had my poster on the wall of the show, and I haven't got anything on paper at all. Nothing. I have an idea, I have a title, and that's it. It's like 8 weeks to go. Come on. So
it's closer and closer.
It's really good for that. And I suppose if you go out there, you can develop the show in Edinburgh, and then you can take it on after that. It becomes, I think it matures after Edinburgh, as opposed to
that's the final product.
That's the final product when you take it there,
Yeah.
So I think that's the way I use it.
It's a working sort of.
Progress. But less and less people now are doing that. When they go to Edinburgh, like they start their sort of previews, and they get previews in April. I'm going, what? That's cheating. You can't do that. Come on, you swat. But they do. So by the time they get to Edinburgh, they're just like they're bang on the money, and that's what you have to do now.
And they come with their airbrushed poster.
Yeah, the whole thing.
With the classic show, and it's all very slick.
Slick, and Damn, that's what I have to do, be slick.
So are you in Edinburgh this year?
I don't know yet. There may be a big project. It's quite a big project, which may happen. And it may not happen. I don't know yet. I mean, I'm very close to knowing. Probably within the next 2 weeks I'll know if it's going to happen or not. Can't say more than that at the moment.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it's a big theatrical project.
Theatrical?
Yeah, it's a big play.
Wonderful.
With at least 10 in the cast. Thank you, my man.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. My pleasure.